We've all had that one little body part where it just will not grow. For some of us, it's our calves. Others, it's our arms. Maybe it's our quads. Maybe it's our chest, like me. It could be your back, could be your shoulders. We all have that one body part that we're struggling to bring up. What do you do? Well, I'm here to tell you there is some hope. I found that there are 7 different methods of building your legging body parts, and each of these methods is effective, but if you combine all 7 together, well, that's 7 times the muscle you're going to be able to build. So make sure you listen intently to every single one of these methods because they are all important. Or as Bernie Sanders says, important. Method number 1, you need to increase the frequency that you train your legging body part. So if you're only blasting that body part once per week, well, once per week is not going to cut it. You need to do 2, 3, 4 times per week. Increase that frequency and that muscle will have a higher potential of growing. I recommend personally 3 times, maybe 4 times per week on this legging body part. It depends on the body part. And that brings us to method number 2. Use daily undulating periodization. So if you're training 3 times per week this body part, each time you go in and train, you need to use a different set and rep scheme, and you need to train for a different training effect. What are training effects? Well, you have strength, you have hypertrophy, you have endurance, you have power, and then you have mixtures of those. So your end result and your end goal is you want to build muscle in this legging body part. So you need to use daily undulating periodization and do a different training effect every day, but all these training effects need to work together to build muscle in the end. So what can you do? Well, you could do on day 1, you could do 5 sets of 4 to 8 reps. Day 2, you could do 4 sets of 8 to 12 reps. And day 3, you could do 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps. So each different day, you're training a different training effect. The first day would be strength. The second day would be hypertrophy, which is building muscle. And the third day would be endurance. If you have endurance, it means when you do train to build muscle, you can do 1 more rep. If you train for strength, when you go to build muscle, you'll be able to use 5 more pounds. If you keep increasing the strength, keep increasing the amount of reps you can do, well, that's going to increase your muscle growth. And that's why I like daily undulating periodization. You need to prioritize and train that muscle at the start of your workout. This is when you're fresh. This is when you can put in the most effort into building that muscle. So you need to do it first. It's most important. Do it first at the start of your workout. But don't forget the end of your workout. This is where you want to, finish it off. You can get a nice pump in the muscle and make sure that you actually are building that muscle with what I like to call the stubborn muscle group sandwich. You start training that muscle at the start of your workout, you do your other body parts or the rest of your workout, then at the end of your workout, you finish it off on that stubborn body part once again to make the stubborn body part sandwich. For the next method, you need to use intensity techniques. This is going to train to failure, it's going to get a pump in your muscle, and it's going to add training volume. All 3 of these things will help you build muscle. So what's an intensity technique? I call them intensity techniques, others call them intensification techniques. It doesn't really matter, but what they are is things like drop sets, things like rest pauses, things like partials, things like heavy negatives. All these kind of things are going to help you extend and get you closer to failure in that muscle. Now, because these are intense, I want you to put all of your effort into it. So it's going to be super hard to do and it's going to take a lot out of you. As a general rule of thumb, you do as much as you can and then do 3 more reps because we all have 3 more reps inside of us. You just got to push through it and do it. Because this is so intense, you don't want to be using these intensity techniques on every exercise of every workout. You just want to use it on your legging body parts, and you only want to use it like every 7 to 14 days. I found the sweet spot as around every 10 days. So on every 10th day on that lagging body part, you can use some kind of intensification technique to make sure that you're going to failure and that you're adding the volume and that you're building muscle. Our next method is you want to use loaded stretching. Some people call this an intensity technique. I think it's a technique all on its own. We've known that loaded stretching works really well at building muscle, but a lot of people are kind of freaked out and are afraid to do it. Don't worry, it's actually a great way to build muscle. Here's how I recommend doing it. Let's say you're doing an exercise that has a natural stretch in it. So for an example, it could be flies. So on your last set, after you're doing the flies, on the very last rep, at the stretch position, hold that stretch position for like 30 seconds. Then after, what's going to happen is you're going to be stretching that muscle loaded, but it's in a safer way of doing it. And as you progress through the 30 seconds, you're going to get more and more of a stretch. While you're holding that stretch, I want you to kind of contract the muscle at the same time. What that's going to do is it's going to put tension through the muscle as it is stretching. That's going to lead to the muscle growth. After you stretch it, then what I want you to do is do 1 or 2 hard reps and then hold an isometric at the end of it to lock in that stretch and to lock in the tension to signal muscle growth in that muscle. And last but not least, method number 7 to build stubborn muscles, mind to muscle connection. Guys, this is the most important thing that I will talk about and teach you today. This is what you need to get through your head. If you don't take any of the things that I just taught you, but you use this one thing, it's going to help you build your stubborn muscles, and it's the mind to muscle connection. You need to feel that muscle contracting while you are exercising it. If you don't feel that muscle working, then you need to back off and just try with lighter weights to get that muscle to contract. For me, my chest has always been a hard point for me. When I implemented this mind to muscle connection where I could actually feel the chest muscles working when I do push-ups, feel the chest muscles working when I'm doing bench press, feel the chest muscles working when I'm doing flies, that one simple thing increased my muscle growth like nothing else. If you can get this right after doing it properly your first time, you're going to be very, very sore the next few days because your body isn't used to putting that much tension through that stubborn muscle. So I want you to learn to put the tension through that muscle, and then that's when you can start to increase the weights and do all these other methods, because this is the most important thing. You need to learn how to connect your brain to that muscle so you can put tension into the muscle. If you can't put tension into the muscle, it's not going to grow. So guys, I hope you learned a lot from this. These 7 methods are super important. You want to make sure that you connect that muscle with the mind to muscle connection. You want to prioritize that muscle by training it first. Do the lagging body part sandwich by training it last in the workout as well. You're going to use intensification techniques. You're going to use daily undulating periodization, or DUP, and you're going to be training that muscle more frequently. Combine all these things and your stubborn muscle will grow.